Welcome back, Anxious Gamers, to another video game-filled episode. We are your hosts. I'm Chris.
And I'm Josh.
We're going to kick things off with gaming news, what we're currently playing this week, and our main topic, are you a gaming completionist? So, without further ado, gaming news.
Good stuff.
Yes. We're going to kick things off with good old Microsoft. Phil Spencer announced to everyone that they have lost the console wars, which, like, I don't even care about the console wars. That's not even
It is kind of funny, though, that they just straight up were like, yeah, I don't know. We didn't win.
Yeah, and he has mentioned that he's always praised Nintendo, one, for their exclusives, but two, for their, like, blue ocean strategy, like their business, strategies and stuff. And, sorry, Phil, this ain't going to work for you, man. Like, you literally... It's just been a terrible year for Xbox. And I will say their last showcase was pretty solid, but we still don't have release dates on half those games. And they just announced Elder Scrolls 6 is at least 5 more years away, if not more. And Today, Perfect Dark is, we don't even know when that's going to happen. So it's a bummer. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, how do you feel about the console wars? I just don't get it.
Well, this is funny because you do get the console wars. You just don't realize you do. You love Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And you always say, I know I'm a Nintendo fanboy. That's pretty much all that it is. Just other people chose Xbox or PlayStation, and that's the one that they go to bat for. Now, the part I don't understand is when other people hate someone else or, argue with them over their choice.
That's what I'm getting at. That's the part that I don't get. Yeah.
But it is a competition. That's the whole point of having, all these companies having game consoles in the first place, is that they're all competing with each other for market share. Mm-hmm. And that's all that really is. Mm-hmm. It's just weird that people so vehemently defend giant corporations.
Yeah. That's a good point. There. Yeah. I think what bothers me is if you go into my media room, I have all 3 systems. I have a PS4, Xbox, and a Switch. And yes, I play my Switch more because that's what I prefer. But I still have my Xbox, and I still love my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think Ghost of Tsushima is a beautiful game. I still love going back and playing Halo. I think Game Pass is a very good service to have. And a lot of the games that were showcased at their presentation are day one play on Game Pass. That's a big selling point.
Yeah.
$16, $15 a month just to play that. Yeah. Totally worth it. I really don't understand why people hate each other over consoles. But I will say, in gamers' defenses, when the leader comes out and says we've lost the console wars, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
It's like Shigeru Miyamoto walking out and being like, Mario was a failure.
Yeah,
even though he's not. But
it's kind of like, it's to gamers, it's almost like sport teams. So they pick one, they like it, they identify with it, they love the games, love the branding, whatever it is that they love about it. And a lot of it is supposed to be in good fun. It's a friendly competition kind of thing amongst, all the gamers. And even the companies themselves, they'll poke fun at each other. And I think that's where it was supposed to stay, but same with sports. You get, people flipping over cars and setting things on fire and rioting when their team doesn't win. But it is fun to mess with each other. I love PlayStation. Mm-hmm. That is even though I was a 360 guy, but I love at least the last 2 generations of PlayStation, all the games, the branding, the console, the way that they handle their first party developers, everything. And so I like to poke fun at, some of my friends for having an Xbox at all. I'm like, what are you even doing over there? Because a lot of them also have gaming PCs. I'm like, why would you even get an Xbox? Just go buy, the controller, and better yet, hook
Hmm.
up your DS5 or DS4 to your PC and you'll be fine.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's a lot of friendly ribbing, I guess.
Yeah, I think it
And
just depends on the type of gamer you are.
yeah,
What?
and
Yeah.
Nintendo did a pretty good job of pulling themselves out of the console wars to where it basically was just Sony versus Microsoft anyways.
Hmm.
Because Nintendo was
Yeah.
the first one to pull out of E3. That's where really the console wars were.
Hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. I think of the original PlayStation ads of Crash screaming through like the. Did you ever see those
I don't
ads?
remember that.
Yeah, Crash like yelling in a megaphone, like "Come play this. I'm better than Mario." Which Crash is great. I love it. It's cool that I can play them on my Switch now.
Yeah, right. They
Still not
lost
in
that war.
Smash, but no. But enough with Microsoft. Let's talk about this Nintendo Direct. So,
Hmm.
you have some exciting news about a particular game.
Yeah, so we'll get to the big games at the end, but there is one, and I know that all of the directs have featured way too many farming sims the last couple of years. That's like all that it is. It's farming RPGs and whatever for whatever reason. But a game that I've been following for a while called Palia, which is an MMO farming sim. It looks kind of Harvest Moon esque, but more 3D. And the promise of it is that you can, join up with your friends. You got your house. You can furnish it however you want. Farm, go. I think there's some fighting involved, but it's supposed to be just a pretty chill, casual MMO. And number one, I was surprised to see it was coming to the Switch. I think that was one of their Kickstarter goals or something like that. I think it was originally a Kickstarter game, but they must have hit their goal because Switch wasn't originally on there. But so that was pretty cool to see in the direct, anyways.
Yeah,
But
that's very cool.
also, I got an invite to alpha tests. So next week, I think next weekend, I'll get to play it. And I'm under NDA, so I'm not going to be able to say like what I saw or, record any screenshots, gameplay, nothing like that. But I'll report back on some vague thoughts.
Very cool. Guys, give Josh a round of applause.
Don't do that. All I did was sign my email up one time, like 6 months ago. I didn't do anything crazy.
It's very exciting, though. Very
Yeah, I'm
cool.
pretty excited to see it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that I followed it for a long time and then I'll forget it exists for a while and then I'll see news pop up and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play that. And then I'll forget about it again. It's been a while.
Yeah. Some of the big announcements, I mean, the biggest one, uh, Mario. You can check out our previous Anxious Gamer shorts on YouTube about Mario. Um, how do you feel about the Mario RPG remake, Mario Wonder,
Yeah. So I want to
Peach's new
start.
game?
I'll Peach. Wait, did I miss that one?
Oh yeah, Peach is getting
There's
her
a
own
third
game.
one. Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I only saw the two.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to
Yeah.
tell me about the Peach game in a second. But
Sure, sure.
I think Super Mario RPG looks interesting
Hmm.
because remember how kind of weird the graphics were? It was
Yeah.
pseudo 3D, I guess.
Hmm.
They almost have a filter from what I could see in the trailer that pixelates all the models slightly.
Hmm.
So I don't know, I think it's pretty interesting
Yeah.
visually because it's almost they're trying to keep it similar to how it used to be, but obviously it's fully remade.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I never did finish the original,
Hmm.
and then what is it? Super Mario Wonderful
Wonder. Yeah, the new
or
2D
just Wonder?
Mario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Super Mario Wonder. It looks trippy.
It's very trippy. I definitely got classic Mario vibes from it. Just his animations
Hmm.
and the worlds and like the fact that he turns into an elephant,
Yeah,
like that's it definitely like Mario 3, 2, 3 kind of styles. It does look very trippy though. I mean,
I'm
4-player co-op though, it's going to be great. It's going to be a
yeah.
blast
Oh, I'm
and
excited because me and my kids play Super Mario Brothers U.
Hmm.
Um, that one and then a lot of what's the other one? Cat Mario.
Oh, 3D World,
Yeah,
3D
Super Mario
Land, or
3D
something
World.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 3D World. We play a lot of those together, and it's especially nice because they have characters that are meant for small children that can't
Hmm.
get hit, or they're easier, they can float. We also get to play as Daisy for the first time.
Oh,
I don't know if you
yeah.
caught that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the Wonder game?
Hmm.
That's cool because usually you can play her in like the spin-off games like Golf or
Right. But yeah,
um
this is the first mainline because you could play Rosalina in the last one.
oh,
But yeah,
okay.
now Daisy's finally making an appearance that you can
That's cool.
play a full
Yeah,
game.
so Peach is getting her own game.
All right, tell me about
They
this one.
so it's a very short trailer. It looks like it's going to be kind of a in-depth 2D game where you can kind of like it's 2D but you can move around the
Mm,
whole level. I don't know what style that's called. Um but it was very short. It was
2.5D.
yeah, something like that. It was very short. It was maybe like 15,
So is
20
this just like a
seconds at the
teaser?
most. Yeah, but that's really cool. I mean, I loved the Captain Toad treasure tracker game.
Hmm. Did you
I thought
play
that was
Fez?
no.
So Fez was an old indie game that had it was a puzzle
Mhm.
game where mostly it was in 2D, but you could flip the world, and then
Mhm.
things would change depending on how you were looking at it. Pathways would open up. It was a pretty cool
Cool.
game. You'll have to check
Yeah.
that one out. I'll watch the trailer and see if it's
Didn't they bring that
similar.
to Switch?
It may be on there.
I think they did because it was like a big deal or something like that. Because I remember seeing a trailer for it a few years ago.
It's pretty old.
Yeah.
I think Fez came out the first time in maybe 2012, 2013. It might be a little newer than that,
Yeah, it's on
but
Nintendo Switch. Fez.
nice. Yeah, you'll have to
Yeah.
check that one out. It's a pretty good puzzle game.
Cool. Well, I got a new game to add to the list.
There you go.
Sweet. Um, they also announced that I thought this was pretty cool because I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this. Did you catch the Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon 3DS port coming over?
No, I didn't.
So that was in that little when they announced Mario RPG, the Peach game.
Mhm.
They're bringing Dark Moon over and they're visually enhancing it for the Switch. So I'm curious to see if they're going to bring because the original Luigi's Mansion is on 3DS. They
Mhm.
remade that. So I'm curious to see if they're going to remake that one or bring the Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask remakes over or some 3DS games. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so many of those that I want on the
Hmm.
Switch.
I've been so tempted to buy another 3DS, but I'm like, I don't have the time, and I don't want to pay that price for.
Right. Yeah, because I believe Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, those are still 30 or 40 a piece on the
what
3DS.
what really gets me is when they did like the player selects, and it was $20 for the game, and then you go to a movie or a video game place to buy it, and the player select is like $40 or $50.
Mhm.
Like that was $20 brand new. So,
Yeah.
uh, anything else from the direct that kind of caught your eye?
No, that pretty much because I didn't see the whole direct.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I missed a few games. So,
Um, one more game that caught my eye, the Metal Gear Collection Volume
mm,
1 was
mhm,
announced in the direct and then on all the other consoles. And it's really cool. It has like Metal Gear 1 or Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, like Snake Eater, and then
mhm,
it has the NES games as well. Um, but they've already leaked the collection too, which is going to be like 4 or 5. Um, because there's placeholders in the timeline. Like there's like a whole like comic book section you can go and like read illustrations, and then there's like timelines, and there's placeholders where you can't view that game yet.
oh,
So
so I
looks
guess
like
it'll just expand.
I think so because Konami's been killing it with their collections recently. Like I have both the Castlevanias. I'm excited about Metal Gear. Um, yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So,
Nice. Do you know that I
um,
have never played a Metal Gear game other than up until 5 and Phantom Pain?
really,
Mhm.
I played Sons of Liberty. I played the second one, and then I played a little bit of Snake Eater and Rising, Metal Gear Rising, which that was complete like a completely different style game.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm told
I
by a few people that I really have to play Metal Gear Solid 2.
it's good. I never really was into Metal Gear or like stealth games, but then I played Sniper Elite, and
Mm,
I've beaten all the Sniper Elite games.
I do love me some Sniper Elite.
Yeah,
Those
and
animations when you shoot somebody.
dude, that's such an underrated game. We need to do an episode underrated games. Like, yeah,
Oh, there you
next
go.
next topic.
That's a good
Um,
plan. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments some underrated games. Maybe yours will get picked. uh, but after playing Sniper Elite 4, I was like, I kind of want to try Metal Gear, but you can't find them anywhere unless you have like backwards compatibility or like
Hmm.
the previous discs and stuff. But I'm really excited about this because those are just solid games.
Oh, get
So,
out of here.
any other gaming news that you'd like to talk about?
No, just what I'm playing.
Good. Yeah, I know what you're playing. Go ahead
Final
and tell us
Fantasy
what you've been playing.
16.
Yeah.
I did try to finish up 7, and then my curiosity got the best of me, and I switched over to 16.
Hmm.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. Now, it doesn't really truly feel like Final Fantasy, though. It's a little weird because the way that magic and all of that is handled, you don't have a magic meter or
Hmm.
anything. You have your health. There is a point where you get basically the equivalent of a limit break, but you don't have the same type of actions that you used to have. Something else happens that's equally as cool, but it's a different thing. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is very linear. There's some of the map areas are pretty wide open, but largely, like I had mentioned in the last episode, you jump from area to area using the world map.
Yeah.
And it's very dark, though, like very. And I know
I
we got
play.
a glimpse of that in the demo, but it almost gets worse.
I played it.
You played the demo?
I played the demo and I got to play probably about an hour of a story mission. I went down to East Texas this
Oh,
past
yeah.
weekend, and my friend has a PS5 and he got it. And he's about
Nice.
halfway in the game, but yeah, I can definitely see the Game of Thrones dark. I mean, there were times I felt like I was playing a Castlevania game almost. I was like, it's
Right?
so dark, and
Yeah.
it. And I now I haven't got to play more of the game. I can't speak,
Yeah.
like I know it, but there were moments where I was like, this is Final Fantasy, and then there were a lot of moments where I'm like, this just feels like a linear,
It's really
almost
hard
like
to
Hellblade to a sense.
right. Like
So,
it's hard to explain what this one is. I was trying to tell somebody else about it. They're like, "Yeah, I really hate, turn-based combat." And I'm like, "This is the exact opposite of
dude,
that."
and I felt like Final Fantasy VII remake and Final Fantasy 15. Like, yes, it was hack and slash. Seven feels a little bit.
It's like a
I don't
hybrid
know. It's a hybrid, yeah,
because you
but
still have to
like
tell, your other party
characters,
members what to do.
yeah,
This one has none of that.
yeah, yeah. This it felt just like Devil May Cry, Astral
Right.
Chain, like
Yeah. I even
just.
threw some almost Assassin's Creedy combat in there
Hmm.
with the
Yeah,
dodging and a little bit of Elden Ring too.
yeah.
Just some of the way that it's done and the larger enemies and the way you fight them. And like you look for patterns, R1 to dodge, and you have, a couple of your what do they call it? Like invincibility frames or whatever.
Yeah, but it is very, very linear,
Yeah.
and I think to a sense that's good for a lot of people because yes, open world games got a boost after Breath of the Wild, and it's kind of been every game is like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of games, especially PlayStation games, have kind of gone back to the more like semi open world and stuff, which is fine. I mean, I love that as well.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, it is very,
And
very dark. And
see, I like the linear.
mm,
Um, there's just sometimes where I want my game to be on rails and like take me from point A to point B.
hmm.
Let me kill everything along the way. Watch the cutscenes.
Yeah.
A little bit of exploration, like you have optional things. I'm gonna go kill those monsters over there and get this item,
Hmm.
but there's not a lot that you can do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I like that. Sometimes I want Tears of the Kingdom. Let me go do whatever the heck I want.
Hmm.
And then yeah, sometimes just
Yeah.
take me on an adventure. I'm here for the ride.
That's how I'm the complete opposite. Like I used to just be 100%, and it's funny. My wife will tell you like it had to have a good story. It had to be like on the rails. You know, I every game I played was like that, and then I played Breath of the Wild, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to that. But I liked Final Fantasy 16. I don't think I'm gonna get a PS5 anytime soon, but it was good
Okay.
from what I played. So
I'm really enjoying it so far.
yeah, yeah.
And I have to already give it an award for best voice acting in any
Okay.
Final Fantasy game ever.
Ever? Oh come
Ever.
on, the laugh,
No,
man.
ever. If we're being uh realistic here.
You don't want to hear Noctis's sappy, like whiny baby voice,
Oh, dude.
Come on.
It really like it's so far and above. And apparently this is interesting. They mentioned that even for the Japanese audiences, the game was built and optimized for English. And
Interesting.
so they suggest playing with whatever your language is, subtitles, but leaving the audio as English.
Very cool.
And so it's interesting. I looked up the cast and I actually recognize some of the voice cast. Like they've been in TV and movies, and it's a whole cast of British and English actors, and it's just interesting. I like the guy who does Sid's voice.
How far are you in it?
I am. I don't know how to gauge that. I don't know how long the game is, but
Okay.
my character's at level 22, 23,
Okay. Yeah.
and I just finished a pretty major portion. I would say probably the first, if it's a 3-act story, I probably just finished the first act. I would say.
Man. Um favorite game this year? You think you
No,
Okay.
I love it, but no.
What's your favorite game this
Oh,
year
I
so
mean,
far?
Tears of the Kingdom takes that so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's a tie for me. Tears of the Kingdom or Resident Evil 4 remake.
Okay, the remake was fun too, but so far out of those three, Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil.
Yeah. I I do like Final Fantasy 16 though. It was very close for me to be like I'm just going to go get a PS5 right now.
It
But
made you question it a little bit.
it did. I don't feel like I'm in a position right now to play that style of game. I'm still I don't know. I've been just
You
playing
have a pretty big
very
backlog. You need to finish Tears of the Kingdom before you do anything else.
yeah, I
We
have a
have to
big
finish talking
backlog,
about this game.
but I've just been into weird games. Like I don't know. Like just
Like,
like
like what?
like Ghost Trick. Have you seen that?
Ghost Trick?
Yeah.
No.
I played the demo. It's an old DS game, but basically you were murdered and you are like a spirit and you're trying to prevent this girl from getting murdered and you can like possess things and stop the murderer.
I remember seeing this game.
Yeah, and there's a free demo and I think it's on all platforms. But I know, like it's weird. Like when Pokemon Snap came out, the remake, I never thought I'd touch that game again, and then like I got it. It was like my favorite game of the year.
Pokemon
Like
Snap?
yeah, like or
I haven't
the
played too
new
much of the
one.
new one. My
Yeah,
wife did, but I loved the original Pokemon Snap.
yeah, and then like Ghost of Tsushima, I never thought I'd get into that, and I was like sucked into it as well. That's what got me a PlayStation. I was like, okay, that game, like I
So
love.
is it going to take the sequel?
I don't know because I don't know what like where they can go with it.
What about the Death
That's
Stranding sequel?
I never had any interest in Death Stranding.
Did you try it?
I did actually. My friend
Okay.
had it. He got it when it came over to PC, and I
Mm.
played it a little bit on his PC, and it. I mean, it's not a bad game. I'm not gonna bash it. I only played like 30 minutes of it. I just
That one
so
takes a while. I'll say that.
here's kind of a little like pet peeve of mine. Um, I don't like real actors in video games. Voice acting is different, but like even
Mm.
like Ghost of Tsushima, like
When they look like the actor.
yeah, it just throws me off. And like Conan was in Death Stranding, right? And it's just weird. Like I don't know. Like I feel like I'm playing like, and I'm not saying Death Stranding is a bad game, and I'm trying not to say like so many times. It's really hard. I have my
It
hands
is.
in my pocket and I'm sitting on my hands. uh, but I feel when I play, God, when I play this style game with like, God. Anyways,
Okay, so
let's
for
talk
those of
about.
you watching this part, I was doing the transcript on the last episode, and both of us say the word like hundreds of times in that 1 hour.
We'd like to apologize.
It's just one of those pieces of speech that you can't get rid of.
Uh,
Oh, what do you
that
have that in?
is so out of tune. I have it in an open tuning. Here, I'll sing you guys a song. Uh, I'm not even gonna sing a song. We're not even gonna do this.
Happened.
I put new strings on my classical guitar, and for those of you that listen and play classical guitar, the strings take forever to stretch out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Final Fantasy 16, very cool, very cool. I have been playing Quake.
Quake?
Have you ever
Like the
played
OG
Quake?
Quake?
OG Quake. They
That's a good one.
remastered it and brought it over to all consoles last year, 2 years ago.
I remember that.
I,
Yep.
I it's so fun, and they added all of the PC mods. So somebody made extra levels to the game, and Bethesda was like, "We want that in our game." So it's all included in the package. And Quake 2 remaster was leaked before QuakeCon, which I think QuakeCon happens in August.
That sounds right.
So,
August? Yeah, August sounds right.
yeah, somewhere late July, August.
Because I
Uh,
remember it being pretty close to my wife and my anniversary.
but I just love hopping on that game and going back to the boomer shooter eras. It's just fun. I love shooters. I love modernized shooters.
Yeah. Speaking
But
of, I watched a random video today while I was working. I don't know why it was recommended to me, but there's Doom maps for OG Doom that you can download, and some people find crazy tricks and all of this. But I found one called My House. Have you ever heard of that Doom map?
no.
It's this absolutely trippy technical marvel of a custom Doom map that some guy made. And number one, they're talking about the technical achievement of it's a house that has 2 stories and a basement and an attic, which original Doom could not do because the maps were built in 2D.
Hmm.
And then there were just certain attributes that would, say this is water, this is a floor, these are walls, there's a door here. And somehow this guy took that same engine and built this like modern house.
Wow.
And but it's this trippy, nightmarish. I don't know how to explain it, but I started watching this video, and the next thing I knew, I was an hour and 17 minutes in, and then it ended.
Wow. That's so cool. I'll have to check it out. Send it over to me.
Yeah, I'll send you a
I
link.
I first played Quake on the N64 and then kind of forgot about it. Revisited it on Xbox 360 with Quake 4, which Quake 4 was a good game. Then they remastered it and I picked it up, the original Quake. But there is a indie game, I'm not playing it right now, called Dusk, and it is a phenomenal Quake Doom-esque shooter. And there is a horde mode, and you can
Mm.
go through play like the classic maps. But he took Peach's castle from Mario 64 and called it Mamma Mia Flesh Palace. So definitely worth it. All made by one guy. So very very good game.
I'll have
What
to
else
check
are
that out too.
you currently playing?
Minecraft. Duh.
Oh, okay.
My kids convinced me to download Skyblock. Did you ever play the Skyblock map?
No.
Okay, so
Uh-uh.
it's on the store. I think it's like $3. There is also an online realm that you can visit, but the gist of it is if you pay for it, you basically host your own local server. And so my kids play on iPad. I pulled out the laptop. We all sat in the living room yesterday. And so you start off on an island. There's a chest. There's like a little L shaped grassy patch and one tree. And that's all that you have to start with. And that's the whole
Wow.
thing because you're in the sky. There are four larger like temple islands around you. But the idea is in the chest, there's a lava bucket and a water bucket. There's a pickaxe, some food, some seeds, some saplings, just kind of basic stuff. But you have to use the lava and water bucket to make a cobblestone generator. And that's how you get enough cobblestone to build bridges to the other four islands. And it is ridiculously hard because it's a full on mod pack. So, I mean,
Wow.
sort of mod pack as
Yeah.
well. There's new creatures. There's like monkey kings and giant snails and alligators, crocodiles, lizards, pterodactyls, dragons. There's lots of new like custom models and it's pretty cool. It's tough though. Those pterodactyls, I think they replaced phantoms. Constantly are dropping down and killing us. Even
Sounds
through
fun.
even through roofs. So that part bugs me, but
Man, sounds difficult but
uh,
fun.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. And there's treasure, and you can buy some pretty cool items with it. But if you get knocked off any of the islands, you lose everything because there is
Yeah.
no ground.
Ugh,
It just
it's
says you
tough.
fell out of the world.
Nice.
I did that often yesterday.
How
Yeah.
many
What else you
times?
playing?
Oh, Tears of the Kingdom.
Are
Just
you
made
though?
it to the Zora Temple.
You said that last time.
I know.
How long did it
Did
take
I make?
you
Well, I didn't
to
make it to
go
the
from the Zora
temple.
Temple to the Zora Temple?
So I didn't make it to the Zora Temple last week. I made it to, or I was
I,
figuring out the puzzles
yeah,
too.
I think you had said you just got to Zora's Domain
Yeah.
last week.
So I honestly haven't been playing a whole lot.
It's
Haven't been
okay.
able to. Um, but
I won't judge you too harshly.
I got to watch Diablo 4 a little bit
Nice.
on the PS5.
How's it look on
Very
there?
cool.
It's
I'm
like
not
Diablo.
a graphical, you know, has to be perfect 60 FPS or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it looks fine. It looks like a
Okay. It
PS5
looks good.
game. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump back real fast because I'm gonna say this. Final Fantasy VII remake looks way better than 16. I don't know why. Especially there's one of your party members that shows up. Her face just looks Final Fantasy 12ish to me.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure what's going on graphically, but just the visuals in 7 remake were several notches above this.
So part of the reason why I haven't been playing Tears of the Kingdom is because I've been playing the 7 remake as well. Um,
Where'd you get to?
I just got I'm not super far. Blew up the reactor,
Mm-hmm.
made it to the town. Just
You're
got
running
this,
errands.
yeah, running errands. Just got the sword for free.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh you're early on.
I'm very early on. Beautiful game though.
Yeah. Some of the
Eh,
cutscenes are really, especially the cutscenes. Now there's certain parts of 16 that I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and the art direction is always amazing. The menu design, all of that is great, and the icon battles are. It's just chef's kiss. That's the only way I can explain it.
yeah. How are
It's
you
some of the most
feeling?
epic battles of all time.
How are you feeling with the 7 remake?
I'm enjoying it. It's still a little slow for my taste at some points. I hate, and 16 is guilty of this too. I hate leaving a cutscene, walking 10 steps, and then starting another cutscene. That is that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's
That
like, why didn't you
is
just keep that all as just one single cutscene?
that's part of the reason why I'm not so far into it,
I mean,
because
it's
there's so many moments where I'm like, oh, enemies, let's go, and then you fight for cutscene, you know, run around, get some stuff, cutscene. I will, and that's where I think I want to credit Final Fantasy 15. Is
mhm.
I know it was kind of, so 15 was, I believe it was my second Final Fantasy game I beat. Um, I liked 15. I know it wasn't like top of the tier, but the fact that you were just like out in this world and it was like you could just run and like you're talking, communicating
That part
between.
was cool. They got the camaraderie
Yeah,
thing down pretty good.
yeah. And I think that like 16 being linear is great. I do like kind of having that sense of direction. You get that closeness. The level my friend was playing and that I got to play was, you're in this, like you're sieging a castle or something like that, or a fort. I don't know. It was kind of early on in the game, and you like sneak in and you just start taking out these enemies.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
and that was like, okay, like I felt really close to that character. But then I started feeling that like, oh, I did everything in this room. There's nothing going back, or like I can't, like I want to climb up there, but I can't, or I can't walk in this water. Um, Not that there's anything in there. It's just,
Yeah, it's
kind of
all
a
just eye candy.
eye candy.
Yeah.
I do like the 7 remake because there are moments where I'm like, all right, that was a lot of likes. I do like the Final Fantasy 7 remake because I feel like, you know what? Screw it. I cannot do this. This we have
I
to
mean,
do another.
you can say some likes.
But I feel like it's a sin now.
See, I feel like that's a phrase. See, I just said it.
I feel that saying the L word is a sin. That sounds so professional.
It does. This episode's gonna have so many outtakes from us
Pokemon
trying to clean up
Scarlet
our
is the
speech.
last game I've been playing. I've been
Sweet. All
popping
right.
popping back into Pokemon. You good to get into our main topic?
Yeah, let's
All
go.
right.
Let's do this.
Main topic. Anxious gamers. Are you a gaming completionist?
An
Josh,
achievement hunter.
uh, so I definitely want to delve into that, but I want to add a little spin-off to it.
Okay.
And what I'm going full force with this completionist. So yes to finding everything in a game, doing the achievements, but are you also a physical completionist? So not only do
Oh,
you
like
get
in
the
real
stuff in
life?
the game, do you get the collector's editions? Do you leave them in a box?
Ah,
Do you like the amiibos? I love getting amiibos, which, by the way, I got 2 new amiibos this past weekend. So here's the thing about me and amiibos. I get the amiibos that only mean something to me from the game in particular. So I've been trying to find Fox. I found Fox finally,
nice.
reasonably priced. And then I also found Shulk from Xenoblade,
All
which very
right.
detailed. So yeah, the amiibo collection's coming along. But
How many are you up to?
Josh, I am up to 31.
That's pretty good.
I've started
That's a
collecting
lot.
them ever since they came out. My uncle bought me the Japanese versions of Twilight Princess Link and Wind Waker Link.
I have two and a couple more on the way.
Which ones do you have coming?
We talked about this. I got the Majora's Mask Link, and what was the other one that came out at the same time as Tears of the Kingdom? They got delayed when they shipped,
Oh,
so
okay.
I actually now can't remember the other one that I bought.
Oh, I do have the Bokoblin guy coming too.
On the way. Nice.
On the way. I will definitely get the new Tears of the Kingdom ones.
Okay, so as
Probably
part of the
just
spinoff, no, I am not. Actually, it's the answer is both is the same to both. I am not a completionist in any way. There's very specific things that I'll be a completionist about, but I just have never had the desire to find and finish absolutely everything that's in a game.
I feel like I was a completionist when I was a kid because I was the games that you would get in our era, you were stuck with it until mom and dad had a paycheck and
Right.
you either got a game
It
for
was like your
Christmas or your
birthday or
birthday.
yeah.
And I think the games that I do complete have to have a sense or like a reward with it. So, for example, I find when I play Resident Evil 4, I find all the treasure because you can use
Mm-hmm.
it and you can sell it and upgrade your weapons. And then when you beat the game, you get to just upgrade them even more.
Yeah.
But they're fairly easy to find. So, that's kind of a pet peeve personally in my gaming taste is I will complete the game if it's easy. So, for example, like Gears of War had the dog tags or the gears that you find.
Yes. Yep.
That was cool because you see the skull on the wall, and you're like, "Oh, I gotta go and get that tag."
I
But it was easy.
yeah. I think that's where I'm at. So I'm pretty sure Resident Evil 5, all of the Gears of Wars, Majora's Mask,
Hmm.
and I feel like maybe one or two other games is the only things I've ever 100% completed.
Yeah, same with Ocarina and Majora's, and part of the reason is those were just two games I absolutely loved, and that was all I had.
Yeah, Ocarina is
So
included in there. Maybe Wind Waker. I think I've 100%ed Wind Waker.
I
All the
feel
bug
like
collection and everything.
yeah, I feel like Zelda is tricky because when I go back and play Ocarina now, I at least get like 12 hearts. I don't find all the heart pieces anymore.
Hmm.
Um, I'll get the bigger on sword because it makes a difference. But when it comes to like Korok seeds or big things like that, I just get what I need. I did the trial of the sword because I wanted a fully powered master sword that
Yeah. And so the
breaks.
Korok seeds is actually what made me think of the idea for this episode. Because how many are there? 900 something?
900 something. Yeah.
That is the dumbest thing.
And your reward is super even not worth it. So,
Right. And so in Tears of the Kingdom, I did, I think, three, four of the little Korok guys with the backpack. And then I've passed up every single one of them after that. They're all like, "Help me! I need to get to my friend," and I'm like, "You can stay there. I'm not touching that. I ain't
these
got
are
time
the
for this."
things that Nintendo does in every single one of their games, and especially Zelda, that turns me off from a Zelda game. Now, I
Hmm.
think it is cool that they're back. I'm like, okay, Korok's great. Like, I love them in Wind Waker, but I I just get what I need. Like I know how many weapon slots I want, how many bows I go through and shields, and at a certain point I start passing them like you. Or if I know that there is a Korok in a specific place that looks fun to climb or glide to, I'll definitely do it just to look at the landscape and stuff. I will say newer games though, the newer Resident Evil remakes I 100% in
Okay.
because the puzzles were just fantastic. The guns were cool. Um,
It does make
and
me very curious in 4 remake. All those desks that have a certain key,
mhm.
and every time I pass one, I'm like, we still don't have the key for that. What is that? Where are those keys?
So those are small keys. So
Hmm.
that's kind of a classic Resident Evil puzzle where you got the bigger keys, right? That would fit into like the weird shaped keyholes.
I don't
Because
even know
that
if
was
we
kind of
we found some of them.
okay. Because that was kind of part of the story. Um, yeah, you just throughout the game, you can shoot stuff
Just
in the
have to be more thorough.
trees. Yeah. But you find little keys that unlock the desk, and it either has a pack of ammunition or some points or
Okay. Yeah,
maybe
because
a spinel or something.
we found all of the, like the plates or the medallions or whatever.
Hmm.
That's what I was looking for because I was used to that in 5.
Yeah.
Um, but every time we would come across the desk, and I'm like, I thought because we would look pretty much everywhere,
Yeah.
and those have got to be harder to find because I never once accidentally came across one.
I kind of want to go. It's kind of a side tangent here, but this is my anti Nintendo segment, and why I actually like PlayStation more and Xbox more in this like topic or what I have to say. I think Nintendo's overkill. I think
with
they are very, very overkill.
with their like post
And
game objectives.
hmm
Yeah.
like I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm probably not gonna do half the side quests in Tears of the Kingdom, and like doing the post side quests, like dumping the eye down the hole,
Hmm.
carrying it. I just at a certain point, I'm like, it just doesn't feel fun. And
That
with the
one was the
older,
least fun, I
yeah,
think, in the entire game. The rest of the side quests and adventures, I didn't think were that bad. I
yeah,
kind of enjoyed them, especially the side adventures.
hmm um, I feel like though it's just kind of a Nintendo nitpick for me.
It's definitely
Um,
Odyssey, all the extra moons.
yeah, I didn't do the like I got what I needed and I beat the game and I loved it and I'll replay it that way. And I think that's where Nintendo's important is like you don't have to do all that to beat the
Hmm.
game, which is cool. You have that choice. But I'm playing I'm still playing through Ghost of Tsushima, and anytime I see like you can find fox dens, and that helps. You carry charms on you, and if the more foxes you find and you can pet them, you get to have more charms. Anytime I see a fox, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta follow it. And you like run around, and sometimes it might get near like a Mongol territory or something.
Hmm.
Um, and then all of the swords, they're the same attack damage, and like you don't have stats.
So it's like
Um,
more cosmetic, I guess.
it's cosmetic, but it's still really cool though. Being like, oh, like I just found this katana with like golden flames on it or something. Um,
The Guy Fieri katana.
yeah, and I'm kind of getting that same way with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I spent 2 hours in that town just finding the hidden chests in there,
Yeah.
just because it's so confined. It's like, okay, I know if I go behind this old shack and up that ladder, there's going to be like an elixir or a phoenix down or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I like more, that style completionist, where it's like
I
it
like
feels a little bit more rewarding.
I like collecting all the music in 7 Remake because
Yes,
that's
I have
achievable.
found some music. Yeah.
Yeah. Now 16, much harder to find music,
Hmm.
but they do have that same feature.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think then there's things like Assassin's Creed and all of those games where I don't know, the collectibles just don't make any sense to me. The best one was Black Flag when you could collect the sea
The
shanties.
shanties. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was cool.
but a lot of those Ubisoft games, they just have almost collectibles for the sake of having collectibles. They don't actually do anything. And I don't know, there's something about that bugs me. It's just filler.
I feel like Black Flag was like top tier Assassin's Creed. I mean,
That's one of my
Pirates and
favorites. Yeah.
yeah. I did like Origins. I thought Origins was pretty cool. That was the Egyptian one.
I haven't done that one yet. I need to.
I played about halfway through. But yeah, I don't know. I with Tears of the Kingdom, I feel overwhelmed with everything,
There's a lot.
which is weird because Breath of the Wild, I didn't feel that way. Um, but then
So
I play Final Fantasy VII, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like I can just, I
you don't have to
because
worry about it so much.
yeah, you don't have to worry about it so much. You don't have to worry about your sword breaking, which is really cool. The
Yeah.
customization of the Buster sword, like just the customization of the swords and the materia, is really cool.
I've
So
always loved the materia system.
yeah,
That's one of my favorites.
hmm
Yeah, that's kind of goes back to that. There's one way in and one way out. And so I can run wherever I want. I know I'm not making a wrong turn necessarily.
hmm
The hardest part of that is, am I accidentally going the right way? Like I'm trying to find all the nooks and
yeah,
crannies,
yeah,
especially when you come to a fork and it's, should I go left? Should I go right? And you take the right
hmm
turn
yeah.
and then you find yourself unable to go back.
Gandalf, which way is Mordor?
Yeah.
Or the Goofy movie, right or left, Maxie?
Don't get me started on Goofy movie. That's one of my
Dude,
all-time favorites.
oh, dude, that is that. All of them are good. I'm gonna play Kingdom Hearts tonight now. No,
You should.
uh, I will say though, take a guess at what my favorite game is to collect in.
Favorite game to collect in.
It might shock you, actually.
Animal Crossing.
No, Skyrim.
Really?
Yeah,
What are you
I love.
collecting?
I love everything in Skyrim. I love. Well, okay, not
I
like
love cheese
collecting,
wheels.
not like collecting, but I just like I love all the different swords, the axes, the bows.
Sorry,
I
are you
love.
storing this stuff somewhere
Yeah,
or
you have a chest. I mean, you can. Did you know that you can buy a
is that?
house and like.
Oh, for Breeze Home. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
but okay, not like necessarily like, oh, I collected this, I'm not going to use it. So this, but the lore, like I love
All
reading
the
the
books.
books, like
Yeah.
finding the books, and just being like, you know what, I'm going to take a break and just like flip through this story and stuff. But I never, and I've mentioned this before, I had friends give me copies of Skyrim and I never touched it because I just was not into that style game or anything. But once I beat Breath of the Wild, I instantly was like, I want another open world game, and I love Skyrim. Honestly, it's probably enough to where I will play Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out. I probably won't go back to Oblivion or Morrowind. I did dabble in those a bit before Skyrim, and kind of was just like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I just
Um,
remember I was at a buddy's house. I don't know. I was like 12, 13, and he had a 360 before I did. I remember him booting up Oblivion, and because you start off in the prison cell,
the prison, yeah,
and as I was walking out, I hit one of the chains and it moved, and I got so excited, which is a
yeah,
weird thing to be excited about. But I was like, game physics.
yeah. And the other thing too is this is gonna sound crazy. I play Skyrim in third person. I don't play it in first person.
That is weird.
And I love the clunkiness, like because it feels like I'm playing Resident Evil 4 in a fantasy world.
Right.
Um, but no, I get a Lord of the Rings vibe from it. I just love the. I really, I think did I put in our top 5 games, was Skyrim like my fifth,
I
or
don't.
was it in my honorable mentions?
It may have been honorable mentions. I don't remember that being in your top five.
Yeah. I think too what I like about it is it kind of did what Breath of the Wild did. Well, Breath of the Wild did what Skyrim did, where it has a story and it has lore, but it's not like you're not sucked into it, kind
Mhm.
of.
You can
Um,
find it.
you can find
It's
it,
in the
yeah.
world. Yeah.
And that's another collectathon topic is games like Doom Eternal did it as well, where you could just fly through, plow through enemies, but you can find ancient runes or whatever that tell you about why you're there, who you are, what you're
Yeah.
becoming, kind of thing.
I would
So
say I like to collect things that have a purpose.
mhm.
And you could argue that Korok seeds do, but
To a point, yeah.
to a
Like
point,
I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna carry. The weapons break so often.
right? I don't need
That-
50,000 weapon slots.
Now the duplication glitch, I was totally fine having 20 fierce deity swords. Like that was okay
Right?
because I fused 2 of them bad boys together. Let's go. My attack power was 73. So
Man, that's crazy. Um, yeah, but things like in Ocarina of Time, the optional powers like Din and Furore and
yes.
Neighbor's Love and all of that, all the bottles. Like I like collecting things like that, things that have a purpose, things that make it a little bit more powerful that you don't have to necessarily have.
Yeah.
The depths in Tears of the Kingdom. I absolutely do not need to do this, but I am still working on lighting the entire thing up. It's just this arbitrary goal that I'm like, that sounds like fun. I want to see this place all lit up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will spend time and effort to do that. But if there's things that the game is really wanting me to collect, for the most part, if it has no benefit, I'm like, no, I'm okay.
I think another one of my favorite games to collect in is Pokemon. Like, obviously, just it's so funny because I don't
Gotta
care about
catch them all.
catching every Pokemon, but then I'm like, I haven't caught you yet, and I go and battle it and catch it.
So every time you
So
open up that Pokedex and look, it's like, there's a missing slot there. I need to fill
yeah,
that in. Yeah,
so
that's where the completionist in me comes out. Is lists, especially
let's
lists.
yeah,
So Odyssey
but
kills me because those last few moons on every world are just so hard to get.
physical collectathons though, are you a special edition? Like, have you
Not
thought about getting on that hype? Because I honestly was going to get the Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I did get the controller, but my pro controller was starting to kind of drift a little bit because I've put like
mm.
400 hours into that thing.
Mine's still holding
Um,
strong, and I feel
yeah,
like I have about that amount of playtime.
yeah,
I'm lucky.
yes, you are. Um,
But no,
how do you,
not so much with physical things. Like I have this whole collection back here behind me, but they're mostly either games I had as a kid or games that I love playing, systems that I like playing.
Mhm.
I don't need them all. Now, I could see myself if I had a lot more disposable income or, whatever. I could see myself getting into that. If I had a room for these things other than my office, I could see myself getting more into it and wanting like, oh, this is every Super Nintendo game that was ever made. That would be pretty
Yeah.
cool to have, but I don't need it. I'm not compelled to do it.
Hmm.
But if somebody handed me, $1 million and was like, what are you going to do with this? I'd take off some things and then I might have the whole Super Nintendo collection
Yeah.
as like a
That's
splurge.
I've tried to control my amiibo intake. Like I almost bought Tom Nook today, but I put him down. But it's it is cool
Trying to
though
save
because
those
like
bells.
I saw Peach the other day and it's like try to say those bells, yeah. But I don't need Peach. Like don't get me wrong, yeah, Peach is great. I mean, I love Mario, but it's like I don't need that amiibo.
Yeah.
But I did pick up cool ones like Banjo Kazooie. Obviously, like I grew up playing that, and Monster Hunter Rise did the Palamute dog, which was cool. Richter from Castlevania. We enough of that. We forgot to talk about achievements and trophies. Are you an achievement hunter, Josh?
It depends. Nice. Um, that depends. I'm enjoying the achievements in like Final Fantasy. I don't necessarily hunt them out, but I enjoy getting them, especially when I do something that I didn't know was an achievement. I was just like, I wonder if you can do this. And then I do it, and it's like, oh, the devs were waiting
That
for me
was
to
my
do
favorite,
that.
like, and
Yeah,
360 and stuff. Just being like, oh, if I light this person on fire.
right. It's like if Ocarina of Time had achievements, the first time you hit a chicken or a cuckoo too many times, definitely would have gotten one there. Or a Link to the Past or something
Some
like
of the
that.
Switch games have the game itself has built-in achievements because Nintendo doesn't have that reward system.
Mm.
So Resident Evil 4 is one of those on
Hmm.
there. That version you can get built-in game achievements.
I think I enjoy them more on Steam, mainly because I can see some of them, like what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of enjoy that. There's a few where I'm like, uh, 40,000 kills with a grenade launcher. I don't really need to get that. If it ever happens, cool. But I'm not
Yeah.
about to go. There was one game that I was an achievement hunter on, and that was Halo 3. And we used to get into
Yes.
multiplayer lobbies, and we would set scenarios up specifically so we could all get the achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were some crazy ones.
Oh, dude, there were so many, and like the finding the skulls too, like having to do the grenade jump. There was one where you have to like drop a gravity lift and throw a grenade and jump up and catch that skull, and you get that achievement.
Yeah.
I feel like the 360 was the pinnacle for me with
That
achievements.
was
It
such a
was
good
so
era for
fun,
achievements.
and all the icons had a cool thing with it, and it wasn't this whole like rare diamond achievement or.
Hmm.
And I've kind of gone back to well, this was a game I've been playing. I've been playing the Ninja Gaiden games again. Um, kind of the devil. I really like the Devil May Cry, like more of a results page kind of thing. And
Hmm.
some games are starting to implement that more, where you can just go into the menu and see everything you've done in that particular game
Yes.
instead of
So
having to have a thing.
Captain Toad's treasure trackers, how there were special conditions you could do on each game, that I enjoyed.
Hmm.
And then moving out has that same thing where
Hmm.
you can play the level normal, or you can try not to do these other special things and get 1, 2, or 3 stars. I love that level of, I guess, achievement.
Yeah.
That feels to me, I like having those segmented challenges. I don't really like for things to be too big of a mystery, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's probably a little ironic. But I do
Yeah.
love the achievements that I didn't know about that pop up, and I'm like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Like Resident Evil 4 Remake had several that I loved, and they kept a few original ones. I won't spoil them on here, but yeah, there are a few that I was like, oh my god! Like in the original, when you did that, you didn't get an achievement, but this one you do
Hmm.
when they ported the game over or whatever.
Did you
So
play the Stanley Parable?
no,
Number one, you need to. I think they remastered it. And number two, it has the best achievements of all time.
what is the concept of the game?
So you play as Stanley and you work in an office, and it's this walking simulator. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
so Stanley Parable has this British narrator, Kevin Brighton, and I'll give you basically the gist of it at the beginning. So you get up and he's narrating everything you're doing, and as you're walking down this hallway, it says, "And Stanley takes the first door on the right," but you have the option. And so if you take the door on the right, you continue with the narration. If you take the door on the left, he's like, and Stanley had a mind of his own and decided, no, change of plans. I'm going to take the left door. And it's this whole just ridiculous, silly, narrated adventure. It's super fun. You've got to try it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I'll check it out.
it's a pretty cool one. But the achievement list is hilarious. And there's one on there that actually, there's two. The first one I have, and you cannot launch the game for, I think, 5 years. And then if you launch the game again after 5 years, you get the achievement.
That's
And
a
the
pretty
other one
cool
says
concept.
this, it's like called like this achievement is impossible. And there's literally no way without cheating to get that achievement.
Wow.
It's just always an empty achievement.
What game was it? It was Resident Evil 7, where if you look up a code and you punch it in, you get killed. Do you remember that?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Lucas's bedroom
Mm-hmm.
thing or whatever.
Yeah, where if you
Yeah.
Google it, you have to find it first. Yeah.
And he's like, "You look that up," or something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you mentioned Halo 3.
Hmm.
What what games other games did you just absolutely love, like getting achievements or trophies in?
Uncharted up to a point. I never cared to try to platinum that because I tried playing it on crushing difficulty
Hmm.
and I got so frustrated, especially with the first Uncharted.
Yeah.
That was a hard game even on normal just because the gunplay wasn't that great. It was pretty janky. But I enjoyed going through the achievements for the most part on that one. There were some little special moves you could do or a certain number of enemies to kill or a certain way to kill them. That I always enjoyed a little bit,
Cool.
but definitely not I don't know, some of those harder ones. Finish the game on crushing or
Yeah.
there's just some achievements that it would take an absurd amount of time to achieve.
Hmm.
That's why I liked the 5 year one on Stanley Parable because all I had to do was not play the game for five
Not
years.
play the game for 5 years. I think the first one I think of is Halo, because I think achievements worked really well with first person shooters because they were simpler to get, but like just the physics in Halo
Mhm.
and just like the way the game plays. Like, yeah, I'll drive a warthog off this ring and have like jump on the arbiter's head and get up here like plasma grenade. That's just fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. Another game that had really fun achievements was Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
Now, okay, I forgot about those. Those we did have a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
And I think we may be getting onto something here, but achievements almost are more fun multiplayer,
Yes.
especially
Yeah.
if you know the people you're playing with and you're
Mhm.
working together to get certain
And
achievements.
what was cool too is like back then, which is only a few years ago, like a decade ago, you could couch co-op a lot of this. So
Hmm.
like in the original Halos, you could couch co-op and get those achievements together.
Right,
And
and that's what we did.
me and my friend stayed up and played Left 4 Dead, and he's like, okay, like I got this achievement this morning. You got to go up to a witch and Molotov her. And I'm like, okay. And then you get like burning the witch or something. And then it's like, okay, now go up to a witch and one shot her with the shotgun. And then you get an achievement. And to me, those are just memories I won't ever forget. It was so much fun.
We're gonna do this on Left 4 Dead 3
God, I
if
wish
they'll
they would
ever
make
make
Left 4
it.
Dead. I'm so tired of these stupid spin-off games. I will
Back for
say
Blood was not.
Back
They
for Blood
tried, but
was, and it's this whole microtransaction. Like, just dude,
mhm.
just give us. You have all these boomer shooters coming back that are great. Why not bring back our millennial shooter phase? You
The
know,
millennial
like
shooter.
yeah,
The biggest thing that everybody's failing to do, it was the AI in Left 4 Dead that made it so good.
mm-hmm,
The way they would all come running or the way they reacted to certain things, and nobody else has put that amount of care into their enemy AI
mm-hmm.
since that.
Another game, kind of getting off track here, that I
It
do
happens.
like to collect in is Borderlands. I like the Borderlands series. I haven't played 3, but I played Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel. I love all the different guns. Like
Yeah.
every container, because I loved BioShock and it's 2K. Um, but I loved just getting all the different guns, and the side quests and stuff were just fun. But that, once again, that's a first person shooter. I feel like that's another thing we're kind of onto. A
It's a
lot of
first
the
person shooter.
achievements were the first person
Multiplayer
shooter
first
one.
person shooter achievements are
And
top tier.
we'll let Gears slide in there because it's still technically a. Yeah.
It was an over the shoulder, but I played all of those co op.
Oh, you did all of them co-op.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, me and a friend way back in the day.
Oh
I
yeah, that's
dragged my
right.
TV to his house, and we linked our Xboxes and we played local co-op.
I bought it the day it came out, and I literally gave it to my friend because I hated it so much. The first Gears,
Oh,
because it was so different. And then
that hurts me.
I watched him play it so much, and he was like, "Come play it with me," and I did, and I was like, "Okay, I like this game." And he's like, "Well, you can have your copy back. My mom bought me a copy, so I got
You
it
loaned
back."
it to him for a while.
Yeah,
Nice.
but without further ado, I think that wraps up this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Good
good
chat.
topic. Good chat there. Um,
Let us know in the comments if there's any games that you are just an absolute completionist on, or if you're just like me and you're like, I don't need it.
yeah, and be sure, to comment on our shorts or videos. Tell us what you're currently playing so we can check out some games that we probably haven't added to our backlog yet.
Yep.
All right. Well, check us out every Thursday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast.
And remember, it's dangerous to go alone.